All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Moore County Board of Education regular business meeting on Monday, August the 10th, 2026 at 4 p.m. We appreciate you being here. Do have a motion to move into closed session for the purposes as stated on the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Davis. Do we have a second? Second, Mr. Benway. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll go into closed session. Thank you. Return to open session. Do we have a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And before we move to our next item, let's have our Pledge of Allegiance. All right, that's Mr. Bachelor. Yes. Oh, all right, I am ready. Y'all just keep standing. Just keep standing. All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I make a motion that we modify, I make a motion to modify.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, now you can sit down.
Sorry.
All right. Okay. All right. What is your motion, Mr. Hensley?
I make a motion that we modify, a motion to modify the consent agenda, actually, and to remove the item F. Well, I'd like to remove more, but to remove item F, the Draftmore County Board of Education meeting calendar item, and put it on the action agenda.
Okay.
It's got to be seconded first, though. Yeah. And I'll say why. And first, I want to talk kind of broad, and then I'll talk more focused. You know, broadly, look, talking about stuff in public meetings, and I realize the last 4 meetings, everything's been on the consent agenda. This would be like strike 3. But no, this would be the 3rd time, or maybe the trifecta, depending on how you look at it. I'm going to talk notionally, then I'll talk specific. Notionally, look, there's many reasons why you want to talk to things in the public meeting. For example, like people attend the public meeting and, you know, people don't pay attention to the work sessions. And, you know, it could be just good things like, you know, we're giving bus driver compensation increase. That's good. And then maybe we talk about, oh, well, you know, here's our goals and here's what we hope to do going forward. So there's many reasons to explain stuff. And of course, there's discussion and debate. So that's why I just generally think that, you know, some things you should just have on the action agenda so that the people attend and the public hear about it because it's that important. But the reason I focus on item F is it's ironic. It's ironic that, so item F is to go from 2 school board meetings a month to 1 school board meeting a month. First of all, I've been advocating that for 5 years. That's just good governance. It's a waste of people's time to have all these meetings. Staff time is better spent. There's a million good reasons to do this, and I'm jumping out of my skin for it. So you might say, David, why are you taking it off the consent agenda? Which is, you know, a good question. So let me answer that. A premise of that, and it was discussed during the work session, was if something is so important that it's not routine, that we're not going to put it on the consent agenda, we're going to discuss it the following month. And the reason why, and we just discussed this about this agenda item last week, we just discussed that if something's major, we're not going to put it on the consent agenda for that day. We're going to let it stew. We're going to let people talk. And here's what's ironic is if you think about it, that's what we're doing today. This is a major muscle movement, and we're not even giving the public a chance to speak. And we're not, I mean, literally, this is going to be on the consent agenda. We're cutting your guys' meetings in half, which I support, but no one can even step up to that microphone and voice support or against it. You know, maybe Coach Z wants 5 meetings a month, you know, if he gets elected to the school board, who knows? So that's the first thing about it. It's not a minor deal, and it shouldn't have been just put on there without public input. Secondly, this is a very particular item because, as I mentioned, I've been talking about this for, 4 years or so. 3 years ago, it was actually discussed as an action item for the school board, and 2 of the people on this board made arguments like they were actually, let me say this. Over the last 3 years, when I brought this up, 5 of the 7 people on this board have been opposed to shortening meetings. Previous justifications have included the public wants us to have this many meetings. The public has to be informed, right? So it's ranged from that to indifference. So this is a major deal. 5 of the 7 school board members previously were dead set, hardcore against this. All of a sudden, they just want to put it on the consent agenda and act like their previous opposition didn't matter or whatever. And I think that the public deserves an explanation why board members who were dead set against this 3 years ago, like arguing vehemently against it, dead set against it a year ago, are so all of a sudden so for it that they're putting on the consent agenda. So anyway, my point is that it's not a minor thing, so it shouldn't have been on the consent agenda. 2, people should hear about it, have an opportunity to speak. And, if it's on the action item, if someone wants to get up and speak about it, they can. And thirdly, I think people deserve an explanation from why 5 school board members changed their thoughts on it, like in lockstep. That's it.
Okay, are there any other discussion? Any other discussion on this motion? Okay, yes, ma'am?
Yeah, I agree with David. Okay, what are we're going to,
He wants to put item F as an action item.
okay, I second that.
Okay.
Oh, we did
Yeah,
second it?
we're in
Okay.
debate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that this is something that the public, that we should talk about it. I was even wanted to talk about the bus driver compensation, but the newspaper covered that, so I don't know if that's necessary. But I agree with David on that.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, hearing none?
I'll chime in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would say on this item, I don't mind putting this on action item. I think it's good enough to do. I don't think it would require any staff time at the last minute to be able to present anything on this item. That's one of the main reasons why I like to make sure that we have the action agenda preset to save staff time and energy, so that they don't come up here and not have any questions to ask because it's not a controversial item. So I'm good with this one. I would say in general that I don't personally believe that the public meeting is a vehicle for communications. So if we're relying on the public to learn about something from a public meeting, I think we've done a bad job in our communications department of getting the word out, because the amount of people that are tuning into the public meeting to find out information about the school system, I think is very few. I think that's very few. So, so in general, I say I support this motion. I'll vote for this.
Okay,
But overall, I like the way that we've kind of put our meetings together to save staff time.
thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Sure.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none.
Yeah, no, I would like to
Okay.
just one quick follow-up thing, just to respond to Steve, is it's very, so hopefully, an informed public, maybe didn't hear about it the first time, but there's a very important thing that happens when elected officials discuss things publicly, especially at the business, it's called a business meeting, right? Isn't this called a business meeting, right? Where you conduct business, but we don't want to do business at the business meeting. But anyway, there's a very important thing that happens is the public hears the thoughts and ideas of their elected officials. That's important. And in a correctly functioning board where people are discussing and debating ideas, then they hear the different debates and discussions and the different viewpoints. So it's very, very important, at least in my mind, maybe not in other people's minds, but it's important in my mind that, they, the people, hear what the David Hensley, thinks on issues related to the schools. And this is the appropriate forum to do it. I mean, my God, if I go to social media, I get attacked by some members of the board. If I go on social media and express my opinion, and now, we put everything on the consent agenda, so I can't do it here either. So, where exactly am I supposed to express my opinion?
All right, thank you, sir. Any other follow-up? All right, hearing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of moving item F to board action, and I would recommend putting it as B if that's the way we go, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. One, that was Dr. Dahl. All right, so motion carries. We'll move item F and we'll change it to item B under board action. right, thank you. Now, do we have a motion to approve the agenda with the alteration of item F?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our agenda is approved. Now, we're ready for you, Mr. Bachelor, for our pledge, and now you may stand up and join us.
Thank you, Board Chair. If you will, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, Ms. Davis, if you'll lead us in a moment of silence.
Yes, if we would please go into a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now before we go into our consent agenda, Ms. Purvis, if you'll just hit the highlights and kind of review everything for us.
I sure will. Thank you. We've got several things to really celebrate on our consent agenda today, and we just wanted to point some of those out. First of all, on our consent agenda, we have Moore County Charitable Foundation Award in the amount of $200,000 that's being gifted to Aberdeen Elementary. That will serve to fund a position for a refocus and a behavior academy, which will serve about 90 students a week over the next 3 years. So we are very appreciative to Moore County Charitable Foundation for that grant award of $200,000 to Aberdeen. Next, as you've heard, we have a bus driver compensation increase. You know the challenges that we've had with busing. I talked with Mr. Nelson just to see where we are this year. Last year, we began the year with 70 drivers. This year, we're beginning the year with 58 drivers. So this bus driver compensation is in an effort to increase the number of drivers. Starting bus driver pay will now be $20 an hour. That goes up from 16-something to $20 an hour, and top pay will be $24.15. Fewer drivers means a shorter ride time for our students. I will have to say a huge kudos to the drivers that we've had serving us. Last year, Mr. Nelson paid almost $100,000 in overtime to these drivers because they are so dedicated to making us and helping us make it work. Right now, the goal is to get 22 new drivers, and this bus compensation increase puts Moore County Schools at the top of the market in terms of bus driver pay. So the hope is that we will draw some from surrounding areas because our pay will be very marketable. So that is the goal. I will say kudos to the Transportation Department for doing the very best they can with the drivers we have. We know we have an aging driver population. We've had several retire, a lot leave for health reasons, but hopefully this new bus driver pay incentive will get some applicants and get us some drivers. And I will say I talked to Mr. Nelson today, and he said the media put out, I heard you say, an article. And just last week, he's received several applications.
Okay.
So just since the work session. So that's exciting to hear. You'll see that we have some policies on the agenda. As Mr. Hensley shared, moving forward, if we move to, and the board approves it tonight, the one meeting a month, policies will not be approved that month. We'll share policies in the work session. Those policies will then be approved the next month, which will give board members and the public time to listen to those. The reason these policies are being approved tonight is, as you know, when the budget came down from the state, we had some policies that came through with that. Those policies were dropped to us July 26th, and one of those was the religious-based exemption policy, which we needed to have in place when school started. That new update to that religious-based exemption policy says that students can be released for religious-based instruction. They can be transported by those organizations that organize that. We are recommending a policy tonight that would say school board dropped the policy and it asks for 1 hour of released instruction time per week. We have amended that to be 90 minutes. As we took a look at that policy, 90 minutes, 1 hour is not quite enough in terms of the geography of our county to ensure that you might be able to transport students and get them back to school. We also ask that students be passing any courses that they would miss for that time, and we've set aside the last 90 instructional minutes of the week. That will typically be a Friday. If we do not have school in session on Friday, then it would be whatever the last day of the week is. And one might ask, why are we designating a day? The reason is that, organizations have not yet planned their schedules. This allows them to know when to plan that, but it also ensures that our teachers don't have 2 kids missing on Monday and 5 kids missing on Tuesday and 3 from first period and 4 from fourth period. So it gives some continuity. And that Friday afternoon also ensures that if we have organizations who'd like to keep those kids longer and have parents pick up there instead of bringing them back to schools, they can do that. So we're excited to make sure that that policy is in effect as we head into the new year. Also, we have policy 210 being updated. Our board attorney policy is now going to reflect North Carolina School Board Association policy. This is in an effort just to ensure that we all are aligned with school board association policy. The revision to that policy will ensure that specific members are designated to communicate with the attorney. That just helps us keep a handle on our bills. There's a process and a procedure for attorney communication. So that ensures that we have legal costs under control. Also moving forward, I'll bring to this board at a work session quarterly updates of legal fees. So at one of our work sessions, I'll just bring a quarterly review of that. So that'll be an update. And then lastly, on our board agenda, policy agenda is policy 2330. And that policy is just an amendment to address us moving to the once-a-month meeting if the board approves that. Currently, policy reads that the public and the board will receive the agenda 3 days prior to the meeting. Moving forward, if the board votes tonight to do that once-a-month meeting, the public will continue to get that agenda the same 3 days, but board members would get that 7 days in advance. The reason is that I want to ensure that board members get that agenda. They have time to look over the presentations and the information. Board members can then request if they have information that they feel needs to be added or clarification that needs to be put in there. My staff will then have time to update that before it is released to the public. So that window of time changes for board members, but it does remain consistent for the public. Madam Chair, that just gives us a little overview.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And we did hear full-length presentations on this at our work session a week ago, Monday. So at this time, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed? All right, do we have a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. We are at our public address to the board. Do we have any speakers tonight?
Yes, we do. Just 2 this evening, Mr. Jim Peterson, followed by Mr. John Miziak.
Hello, everyone. I just have 2 different subjects I want to talk about real quick. They kind of intertwine somewhat. But good evening, members of the board. As we begin a new school year, I want to wish students, families, teachers, and staff a safe and happy, successful year. Our teachers are hardworking professionals who deserve our gratitude and support. They should have a welcoming workplace and feel respected, valued, and free to focus on what matters most, teaching our children. I encourage the board and administration to identify and eliminate unnecessary paperwork, excessive mandates, and any other bureaucratic burdens. Let our teachers teach, give them the tools they need, and create an environment where both educators and students can thrive. So thank you and best wishes, everyone, for a safe and happy new year. I mean, yeah, school year. So I get nervous up here. And then the other thing, I'm going to cover it real quick. I got time, but I just want to say something real quick. And it's funny, I had this written up and then what was talked about just at the beginning of the meeting. But I'm just going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to hand the rest of it. So hopefully you guys will read it and think about what I have to say here. And this is not any accusations. This is general, broad thought I have. Consent agendas can serve a legitimate purpose when limited and routine, non-controversial business is discussed. But they can also be abused, allowing policies, contracts, and substantial expenditures to pass in a single vote without public discussion.
So I'm asking this board to rescind the policy change to policy 2330 and to restore the right of one board member to remove an item from the consent agenda for separate discussion. That's all I have. Thank you.
I'm John Miziak. Members, there's an executive order that's expected to be released next week that will potentially change existing medically recommended childhood immunization schedules. This order will not be endorsed by medical professionals. It could very probably increase the cost for vaccines and also eliminate the potential to get several vaccinations at one time, adding to difficulties for parents who would have to schedule multiple appointments to get their children immunized. Generally, states regulate childhood immunizations. I'm hoping North Carolina will ignore any such executive order, which will not keep our children safer from disease and potentially burden schools as a result of consequences these proposed changes could result in. And I'd like you to meet every week. No, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. And that's all for our public address? Okay. We're at item 5, board action, and the first item is Read to Achieve resolution. I'll turn it over to Ms. Purvis.
Thank you. You may remember last week at our work session, Mr. Benway shared some concerns over the Read to Achieve testing. That Read to Achieve testing is not available for the entirety of our Read to Achieve summer camp. And the request was from our board that I direct staff to write a resolution, sending that to the state and to our representatives to find a way for that Read to Achieve testing to be available throughout the entirety of Read to Achieve camp. That Read to Achieve camp is mandated by the state, and so the request of this board and administration would be that that Read to Achieve testing is available. Ms. Sinan, if you would, please just share that resolution with us.
Sure. Good evening, board members. This is the resolution by the Moore County Board of Education for the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction to extend the assessment window for RTA camps. RTA is Read to Achieve. Whereas the Moore County Schools Board of Education is deeply committed to ensuring that all students attain foundational reading proficiency by the end of 3rd grade, in accordance with the vision and requirements of the North Carolina Read to Achieve legislation, and whereas summer Read to Achieve camps provide intensive, high-quality, targeted reading instruction designed to bridge achievement gaps and propel struggling readers toward proficiency, and whereas the current assessment window established by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction closes for maintenance prior to the conclusion of many local education agencies' RTA summer camp schedules, and whereas closing the assessment window prematurely deprives students of the opportunity to demonstrate reading gains achieved through the full duration of their summer camp instruction and support, and whereas aligning the state assessment window with the actual operational dates of RTA camps ensures that student progress is measured accurately, fairly, and comprehensively at the culmination of their instructional intervention. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Moore County Schools Board of Education formally requests that the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction extend the official state assessment window through the end of Read to Achieve camp. And be it further resolved that this extension will enable school districts across North Carolina to assess students at the natural conclusion of their Read to Achieve camps, thereby providing an accurate measure of student growth, maximizing promotion opportunities for 3rd grade students, and supporting equitable educational outcomes statewide. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be transmitted immediately to the North Carolina State Board of Education and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Thank you, ma'am. And
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate you and Dr. Burris working on this resolution for us.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Benway, did you want to make any comments, or is there? Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
I'd
like to extend again my congratulations to Dr. Burris and her team for putting together a great RTA session this year. Added to that was the great effort you put into incorporating America 250 materials into the whole process. The kids were really into that. So really compliments all around. The one problem we have, of course, is a continuing problem with attendance. The the legislature put this law in motion, but at the very end said, we'll make it optional. I think that was a huge mistake. I don't know how we fix that, frankly. But anyway, thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Benway, for your attention to this. And at this time, do we have a motion to approve this resolution requesting the North Carolina State Board of Education and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction to extend the assessment window for our RTA camp? Do we have a motion?
So moved. I'll
Okay,
second
I
it.
heard-
Let
okay.
Ken go first.
All right,
I'll
motion by
second it.
Mr. Benway, second by Ms. Bruno. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, now we're at item F, and this is our draft Moore County Board of Education meeting calendar for September 2026, July 2027. So, Ms. Purvis, if you'll help us with this one.
Yes, so at the board's work session on August 3rd, I presented a revised meeting schedule. This came with my recommendation. One of the goals of our year is to get our senior staff members who supervise schools back into schools more often. And so the goal is for us to be supporting principals and teachers as much as possible. Therefore, we'd like to ensure that we meet once a month as a board. We will collectively go over all of the items at the work session. If they are routine items, then those would roll right into the business meeting. You know that we do currently, and have in the past, had 2 combined work sessions each year. Unlike those, we will continue to make sure in this new calendar that our business meeting starts at 5:30. So we will maintain that start time. We won't roll right in from work session to the business meeting. Business meetings would still be at 5:30. As I shared before, board members would receive the agenda 7 days prior. Public would get that agenda the same 3 days as they currently do now. Each month when we have that combined meeting, routine things would be covered, and those would move straight to the business meeting. But if we were to have items that need more time, those would be relayed to the next month. It is my recommendation. This will allow staff to focus on the work in schools and moving our students forward.
Okay, so at this time, do we have a motion to approve the Moore County Board of Education meeting calendar for September 2026 through July 2027? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? All in favor say aye. Any discussion?
I have
All
a
right,
discussion item. I'm
okay.
sorry. I've got a
All right.
discussion item.
We have a motion and a second, and
Yeah.
now it's time for discussion. Mr. Hensley, I'm sorry.
So, look, again, I'm all for this. I've been advocating this. And why advocating for it? Because, you know what? I've heard people say, don't micromanage. But then they insist on having 2 meetings a month plus subcommittee meetings everywhere, right? Then we hear people talk about the growth in administrators and, what the military would call the tooth-to-tail ratio. And this is not at Moore County Schools. This is a nationwide thing where the growth of administrators is much higher than the growth of teachers. There's many reasons for that, federal requirements, whatnot. But the board's responsible for the majority of that, right? And what were the signs? What were the signs? We talked in open session. I remember 2021 maybe. 2022 maybe. I think it was Mr. Metcalf sitting right there, how much of your time is spent preparing for board meetings? And he said over 50%. Over 50% of our senior leadership in Moore County Schools time was spent doing dog and pony shows for the school board, right? Where, to Ms. Purvis's point, they should be outward focused to our administrators and training people and coaching people, right? So there were signs, and I think back to 2025, at the first 6 months of 2025, it was really unfair to the superintendent. There was committee meetings constant. And I think Dr. Locklear spent probably, if you go back and look at all the committee meetings, and I cautioned against this, if you look at all the committee meetings, I bet you he spent half of his time for like a 3 or 4 month period, maybe, in committee meetings, and that's just non-productive time. Look, You either hire and trust and delegate. You either trust and delegate to the people that you hire, or you don't trust and delegate. So this is a big step, like Apple's board. They meet like 3 times a year. Sandhills Community College Board of Trustees, allegedly one of the best run boards in the state. I keep hearing that propaganda. They meet 4 times a year, right? For some reason, the school board had to meet 24 times a year plus committee meetings. So this is good, and hopefully, as to Ms. Purvis's point, it's going to free precious staff time of senior leadership so they can go do what they're supposed to do rather than do dog and pony shows for us. So thank you.
Mr. Hensley. Well said. All right, any other comments? I totally agree with you. I feel like this is a long time coming. I really appreciate, Ms. Purvis, your hard work in making this happen for us, because yes, our goal is for the staff to be working with and for our children. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, let's vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are at Superintendent's report, and I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Purvis.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to say we had new teacher orientation today, and I am excited to share that we had 89 new teachers who were being inducted today, and we are just grateful for that. This year, we are starting with 13 classrooms open, and I think that's a low for a long time. So that shows us that people value what we're doing here in Moore County, and we're excited to have them. We have some who are returning to Moore County. We have some who are brand new. I saw several who are our former students who are coming back to Moore County to serve, so that is really something that brings us great pride. As we move into this new year, we're looking forward to kicking off this year with an increased focus on pencil and paper in our classrooms. We're going to have a dedication to reading, speaking, thinking, and writing each and every day in our classrooms. That doesn't mean we won't use technology, but it does mean that we're going to have a real focus on bringing it back to pencil and paper and using technology when appropriate. So that will be our focus for this year in each and every classroom. As we move forward, we'll be working towards that. Also, all families received a call from me at the end of last week with just a few reminders, and I'll put those out again. One of those was the dress code. So parents, I know that you are shopping. It's back to school shopping time for all the clothes. So please visit our dress code that was sent to you in an email. We want to make sure that all of our children are ready for the future. School attire should mirror what would be appropriate in a teenage work environment at least. So students need to be covered from chest well below bottoms, so no short shorts are allowed. And we also want to make sure that we have all undergarments covered. So we don't want instructional time lost because of the dress code. So I've asked, as per board policy, let me get my words out, allows that our middle schools and high schools have a clothing closet. So we're not going to be taking time to drive back home. We're not sitting in the office and waiting on new clothes to get here. We'll have a clothing closet. But if everyone just follows that dress code policy, we won't have to worry about utilizing those clothing closets. So help us with that. Also, just a reminder about cell phone policies. We want to make sure that we minimize interruptions to instruction. So cell phones should be off and put away during instructional time. Now, parents, we do know that there's times that you need to reach your kids, but please remember, if you call the front office, we are happy to get your student in an emergency. So if you need your student during class time and it is an emergency, please call the front office and we'll be happy to help you with that. It's going to be a great year. We're looking forward to having the kids back. We're excited for that. Lots of great things going on. Every decision this year is going to be based on, is this best for kids? So we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was wonderful. All right, now it's time for board comments. Do we have a volunteer who wants to go first? I'll go first. Okay, Ms. Bruno.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank our new and wonderful superintendent for briefing us on the consent agenda. Ms. Purvis gave us a beautiful, brief, but very clear consensus of what the board worked on. So this way, it's on the consent agenda but you explained everything, and you explained it so well. I want to welcome everyone back to school. It's going to be a great year, just like Superintendent Purvis just said. We have the best teachers, and we have the best leadership in this school district. And Rachel Barris, you are a rock star. What you are doing is absolutely amazing. I love the reading and writing focus and the very little time on the computer. I've been saying this for 4 years. I am so proud and so thrilled that Moore County Schools is doing this. We are really teaching our kids. So hats off to everybody in this audience, and hats off to you, Superintendent. Very good. I'm so thrilled. I can't even tell you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Well, I'll just add that I'm also very excited for the school year. Our staff and our students are outstanding. Really looking forward to them getting back to work, getting back in our buildings. Also wanted to mention that we'll have our, we've got a board retreat scheduled for August the 24th. So I'm just looking forward to working with this board on kind of mapping out what the year looks like and really kind of supporting our staff and students in as many ways as we can. So looking forward to a great school year. Looking forward to getting out there and seeing the excitement as the kids come in. And thank you to all the staff for all the hard work getting that done. So,
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Dr.
You
Dahl?
can go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, I'm going to add that I'm also excited about this year, looking forward to it. One thing that is perhaps particular to me is I'm not sure everybody knows that I have retired from my teaching job. So one thing that I'm looking forward to, this has been a frustration for me, is not being able to visit in all the schools. I have not even visited all the schools in my district yet. So that is going to change. And I'm hoping to visit some other schools throughout the district and also be able to attend a lot of the events that I have had to miss by virtue of having a job at another school that kept me away. So that's my particular involvement I'm excited about. I'm excited that we have 89 new teachers, and they're not all beginning teachers. Some of them are experienced teachers. I'm excited that we have a very, very low number of vacancies. I'm excited that we have measures in place to reduce computer time and have our kids doing work where they are writing and reading and speaking, which they've been doing, but with greater emphasis on those things. Computers seem like a great tool, and there are all kinds of wonderful software packages put out by education companies that when you look at them are just amazing, and yet the kids never seem to take away from them as much as you hope that they will. And the one thing that I wanted to wrap up with, I'm excited at what I see of our new superintendent and what I would describe as an integrated vision. Okay, we've been able to raise bus driver pay as part of an integrated improvement to the transportation department. First, getting more of the mechanical work done in-house, figuring out what needed to happen to make that happen so that there would be money available to raise bus driver pay. Okay, not an accident, it was a plan. I've talked to her about some of the details that will surround moving away from the use of technology. It's not that you can just tell teachers, don't use computers so much and it happens. There has to be support for the alternative activities that are going to take place. There's a big picture here, and I'm really excited to see it unfold.
Thank you, Dr. Dahl. Mr. Hensley?
I'm just happy to see all the smiling, happy people. Let's see everybody smiling and happy. That's it.
That was great. Ms. Davis, anything? All right, just to reiterate, we're excited about the new school year. I really appreciate all the hard work that's gone in over the summer with all the building work, all the cleaning, all the preparation. It takes a lot, and these people are hustling over the summer to get it all ready. So I appreciate that. I also want to say I appreciate the staff and all the hard work you did to prepare for this meeting. Appreciate our board members. I just want to read our vision. Moore County Schools is absolutely the first and best choice. I added the absolutely part. In education, with an unwavering commitment to excellence, innovation, and ensuring the development of the leaders of tomorrow. And this is evidence of that good, hard work. So thank you very much. So at this time, do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we have a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Have a good night. Drive safely.